All right, we're a day away until the NFL draft. Let's get back into it with our guy, Adam Schefter. Schefter, we talked about picks 2 through 4 already. What do you hear regarding the Giants and their plans at 5 and 10?
Well, Kevin, obviously a lot will depend on the first 4 picks in this draft. If the Cardinals can't trade out at 3, and if Arvell Reese slides down, it's hard to imagine that the New York Giants, even with the players they have at that position and the resources they've allocated to pass rushers, could bypass a player like Arvell Reese at that spot. That becomes a big decision. The Giants also might have opportunities to trade out, although that seems to be a bit far-fetched. Again, the Giants' search here, Arvell Reese could fall right into their laps at 5. They obviously could take a look at Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. It's safe to say that somehow Columbus, Ohio is on the Giants' radar, and we'll see how that factors into their selections on Thursday night.
Peter, what are you hearing right now about the Giants' situation at 5 and potentially at 10?
It sure is a Columbus feel. I've got them taking Arvell Reese, and I haven't seen many mock drafts doing that, and hearing Adam say that does kind of give me to puff my chest a little bit, but that's only if he's still around at 5. Arvell Reese is such a fascinating prospect in this draft, but I covered the 2015 draft when everyone said Leonard Williams would be a top 3 pick. For whatever reason, he was sitting there at 6, and the Jets took him, and he fell out of the top 5. This feels like that's Arvell Reese here. There's a chance if Bailey goes 2, and then it's Love, and then it's Styles to the Titans, that Arvell Reese is there at 5. I will note this, though, Kevin. They like Jordan Tyson. I think 5's a little rich for Jordan Tyson. If he's there at 10, I think Jordan Tyson makes a lot more sense at 10 than 5.
Jeffy, go in.
Well, Peter, yeah, if you like Jordan Tyson and you don't take him at 5, there's a possibility he's not going to make it to 10. And that is something the Giants have to wrestle with here, because there are any number of landing spots for Jordan Tyson. The New Orleans Saints at 8, the Kansas City Chiefs at number 9. A team like the Dallas Cowboys could potentially jump up ahead of the Giants. There are a lot of scenarios here for Jordan Tyson. If the Giants pass on Tyson at 5, there are no assurances he's going to be there for them at 10.
By the way, some
Draft week,
context there.
Kevin. Let's go.
Yeah. And some context, the Cowboys have picks 12 and 20. We'll get to them in a moment, but I want to get your thoughts on the idea of the Giants at 5 and 10 building blocks for Harbaugh, and the idea that you get your defensive guy and maybe a guy that can help Jackson Dart, and Jordan Tyson's name keeps on going up.
Well, Jordan Tyson's name should be going up. This is a guy that when you watch the film, I know there's injury concerns, but this guy's flying all around, going up and catching the ball, torquing his bodies all type of ways to be able to come down with catches. He has that explosiveness that the Giants offense would need with a guy like Malik Neighbors coming off a major surgery, especially with a young quarterback like Jackson Dart. On the other side, you get a defender in Arvell Reese. We keep talking about his versatility. For the Giants, who have a lot of edge rushers, you can also play him at off-the-ball backer. We saw Abdul Carter have to do that in the game last year against the Kansas City Chiefs. Arvell Reese is a guy that was made to do these type of things and move around the field.
All right, we're going to stay in the NFC East and talk about another team that has 2 picks, and that is the Cowboys that I just mentioned at 12 and 20. What are you hearing, Schefter, right now about Dallas?
Well, I think in a perfect world, somehow the Dallas Cowboys could find a way to get Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles. Again, it's hard to imagine that could happen, and they don't have a second-round pick, and I don't think they're going to mortgage their draft to trade up. So those are pipe dreams potentially at number 12. If they're staying at 12, there is going to be some sort of defensive player that you would think could make a huge difference. Is that Mansour Delane? Could he get that far at that point in the draft? Also seems like that might be a bit of a stretch to get the top cornerback in this draft. Could Caleb Downs still be there at 12? Any one of these defensive players, in a perfect world, somehow, some way, the Dallas Cowboys figure out a way to get Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles. It's hard to imagine. But let me also just say this, and it's worth remembering going into the draft this weekend. They're nowhere with George Pickens right now. Nowhere with George Pickens. They are not really talking about an extension. They're not close to an extension. They're not getting a deal done at this point in time. He's on the franchise tag. That situation is just sitting out there. And the Cowboys are said to really like Jordan Tyson. So it's just one more subplot in a draft filled with them. entering Thursday night.
By the way, the Cowboys having an issue with a star and a contract.
Yeah.
We just call that the rites of spring as we get ready going into the summer. And we see our guy Schrager smiling a lot because in your mock on ESPN.com released today, you had the Cowboys actually trading up from 12 to 9 to get a cornerback. What are you hearing?
It's Adam's right. It's a math game. They traded all these picks and they got rid of these players and they got 12 and 20. But the way the numbers are lining up in all of our simulations and talking to teams, it doesn't seem likely that Styles or Reese will be there. It doesn't seem likely that Downs will be there. It doesn't seem likely that Delane will be there. It doesn't seem likely that Ruben Bain will be there. So you're sitting at 12 if you're the Cowboys. You mortgaged all these defensive players to get these draft picks. At 12 and 20, you don't want to take the fifth pass rusher or the third defensive back. So I have them trading up 3 spots with Kansas City, swapping 12 and 20 for 9 and 29, and ensuring they get Mansour Delane for Christian Parker, their new defensive backs coach. But to Adam's point, I have heard the Jordan Tyson stuff as well. And remember, they took CeeDee Lamb in the 2020 draft when they did not need a wide receiver. And at that point, it was the best player on the board.
See, I love this conversation because going into this draft, I would have told you 100% Cowboys are going with 2 defensive guys in the first round. But you can't always get what you want. And if those guys aren't available, I think what Schefter is saying, the fact that they could walk away and get a receiver, a Jordan Tyson, in the first round, I would walk away and look at that and say, all right, Dallas got a ton better on the offensive side of the ball, but who the hell is playing defense for them? Who's going to go out there and try to stop somebody? They can put up 40 points, 30 points, whatever. Dak Prescott was unbelievable last year, and they still couldn't get to the playoffs. But this draft, that to me is the fun part about it, because for Jerry Jones and company, I want the best player on the board. I don't want to just draft a defender just because that's a weakness to me. So, you, Straights, you may have to rip up the mock draft because you didn't have Jordan Tyson available to the Cowboys trading up. So I love it.
And by the way, if the Chiefs were to move off the 9th pick and allow a cornerback to go, considering their offseason, that would be a stunner as well. All right, let's continue the conversation about stunning developments in sports.
Round picks in Thursday's draft. Starting with the Giants, what should their plan be in that first round?
I mean, the Giants can absolutely own the 2026 draft the way they're positioned right now. At pick number 5 overall, I think you have to look at giving Jackson Dart as much help as possible. You have Malik Neighbors. Let's go ahead and add the number 1 receiver in this draft, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, who proved with that April 17th workout that he's healthy. The hamstring is good to go. He is electric with the ball in his hands, and also as a route runner. His ability to get open opposite of the speed of Neighbors would be fantastic for John Harbaugh's New York Giants. And I have to mention John Harbaugh because, they have pick number 10 overall. Who do you have in Baltimore? Ed Reed, Kyle Hamilton. Now he gets another version of that in Caleb Downs, one of the best pound-for-pound football players in this year's draft with amazing football IQ. He won back-to-back national championships, one at Alabama, one at Ohio State, was a 3-time All-American. That's how you set the culture on the back end of your defense.
So now let's stay in New York. What should the draft plan be for the Jets on Thursday?
There has been a lot of conversation about what the Jets will do at 2 or should do at number 2 overall. I'm going to stick with David Bailey from Texas Tech as the best option for them. He's the more pro-ready prospect in terms of the pass rushers in this class. 14.5 sacks last year. The Jets need help on offense. However, not going quarterback here. Omar Cooper Jr., the wide receiver from Indiana, who made the catch of the year against Penn State and that nail-biter last year. He is fantastic in the middle of the field. He's great with ball skills and yards after catch ability. That's what the Jets need opposite Garrett Wilson. I've been told receiver is a heavy priority for them on Thursday night.
And lastly, the Chiefs trying to get some help to go back to the Super Bowl. What should the Chiefs do with their 2 first-round picks?
Yeah, we have to remember, sure they had Patrick Mahomes, but it was the defense that got them to that Super Bowl last time, and they have to boost it in this year's first round. Ruben Bain Jr., I think he was the best player in college football down the stretch last year. He plays with power. He plays with speed. Yes, his arms are a little bit shorter than you would like, under 31 inches, but he makes up for that with awesome power. And as you see there, a relentless motor when he's chasing down quarterbacks. That's exactly what Kansas City needs next to Chris Jones, an area they've tried to fill for multiple years and haven't been able to. But also, we have to remember, Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson are both Los Angeles Rams now. They need another corner, a number 1 corner. Chris Johnson from San Diego State plays with length. He plays with power. When the ball's in the air, he actually believes it's his. He will go get it, creating turnovers, creating pass breakups. He is fantastic playing the ball in the air. Kansas City develops corners well, but the last time they had an All-Pro, it was a first-rounder in Trent McDuffie.
So just over 24 hours to the NFL draft, and Matt's final mock draft comes out later this afternoon. Matt, thanks so much.